some backlog in terms of payment to the contractors. Right, Honorable Speaker, we were given, out of the 1.3 trillion, we were given 462 billion, and that's the money we are counting in one of those documents. We have accounted for that money, 462 out of the 1.3 trillion, which was requested to do. So before I even go into the main report, that gives a brief on why even many of the contracts are not running, because we owe the contractors a lot of money. Allow me, Right Honourable Speaker, to go through my report. Right Honourable Speaker, this statement is a follow-up to the one I presented to this House in August, on this August House, on 14th May 2025, regarding the state of roads infrastructure in this country. Right Honourable Speaker, I think I'll go on record to be one of the ministers who is always here lamenting and crying about money, because the truth is I'm not getting what I'm supposed to get to be able to deliver the services.
Honourable Government Chief Whip, is it possible for finance to be here? Because if ministers' problems are on money, if the problems are on money, can we have finance here and we understand why these things are not being done?
On the status of implementation with the National Roads Project, outline the effects of funding shortfalls in the current financial year, and reaffirm my ministry's strategy and readiness to provide the service when required.
There's a procedure matter.
Government Chief Whip to call the Minister of Finance. Would it not be procedure right for the Honourable Minister to wait until the Ministry is around so that they answer issues which are going to be raised in the report, other than going ahead in their absence? Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
The report is uploaded.
980 kilometers are unpaved. The Minister of Works and Transport, through the Department of National Roads, that's the department now responsible for the national roads, in replacement of UNRA. What we have done is that, unlike what used to happen before, where like when the UNRA was coming, they dismissed everybody, we have absorbed nearly, as of now, 75% of all the personnel of UNRA in the ministry. And so the people in this Department of National Roads are the same people who have been running the national roads in this country. Following the repeal of the National Roads Authority Act, the Department of National Roads under the ministry now manages all ongoing road works previously under UNRA. As of July 2025, the active portfolio under implementation comprises of the following. We have 28 road upgrading projects. Upgrading, that these are roads which are going to be upgraded from gravel to tarmac. 10 roads under rehabilitation. These are roads which have been highly degraded and have to be rehabilitated. 11 bridges which are being constructed. These projects are financed through a combination of Government of Uganda funding and development partners' support. In addition, the ministry continues to manage the National Road Maintenance Program, covering both the paved and unpaved network. For this financial year, 25-26, the total Government of Uganda requirement for the National Roads Program is 3,153,000,000, broken down as follows. 2,082,000,000 is for the ongoing works, those projects which are ongoing, and the lists are in the annexes which are attached to this document. Land acquisition, which is a very big consuming aspect of the road construction, and counterpart funding obligations. When we get funds from the foreign funders, that we are required to provide counterpart funding in some of the projects for us to meet the requirement. In addition, 1.071 trillion, this is now for arrears carried forward from 2024-2025. 1 trillion 071 billion. These are arrears, which means we have the IPCs, the certificates have already been given, but we cannot pay because we don't have the money.
General, just on that, next time you'll also include the interest which has accrued.
Yes, ma'am, it is within
Okay.
the statement. Against this requirement, only this financial year, 25-26, out of the 3.15 trillion which you require, what has been provided in the budget is 682 billion. This is what is in the medium-term expenditure framework, the MTEF. This leaves a gap of funding or financing of 2 trillion 472. This represents only 22% of the required funding. Right, Honorable Speaker, this trend follows a continued decline in Government of Uganda allocations over the NDP3 period. Government contributions have continued to reduce from 1.86 trillion in financial year 2020-2021 to 682 billion in this financial year 24-25, with the latter representing only 20% of the NDP target for that year. This sustained underinvestment has led to accumulation of certified debt, stalling of ongoing projects, and deterioration in the condition of the road network. Right, Honorable Speaker, this is a matter we have talked about day in, day out. We seem to be doing the same things and expecting different results. It can't happen. We have to change the way we do business if we are going to expect different results. And so, with this kind of funding, I don't think we are going to make any bigger difference. Right, Honorable Speaker, the implementation of the ongoing road and bridge projects under ministry has been significantly disrupted due to prevailing funding shortfalls. Although partial payments were effected in Q4 of 24-25 on some of the projects, the amounts released were insufficient to restore full momentum. Most contractors have not resumed full operation, and most project sites remain partially mobilized or idle. Right, Honorable Speaker, as of July 2025, 27 projects have been affected by either full suspension or significant reduction in progress. These projects include the following: 18 projects fully funded by Government of Uganda, where contractors have suspended or slowed down works due to delayed payment. 9 externally financed projects where delays are primarily attributed to the government's inability to provide timely counterpart funding for land acquisition, taxes, or enabling works. The following projects are currently fully suspended due to non-payment. 1. Masindi Biso Kavali Kizilamfumbi. This is a critical oil road, and the amount of money demanded by the contractor.
Right, Honorable, thank you very much.
Yes, a procedure matter.
Right, Honorable, this is the Parliament that approves the government policies and budgets. And the Senior Minister of Works is here saying he wants to amend. And this is a statement that will be presented to where it is also in the Cabinet. Is it procedurally right for the Minister of Works, the Senior Minister, to come here to lament and to show that there is a failure of government, especially at Cabinet level, and even knowing that the Ministers of Finance and the President, they sit there? So is it procedurally right that you are presenting to us, and what do we expect? And when the Minister of Finance is not here, and it's not Cabinet. So is it procedurally right? I thank you.
Honorable Kwizera Eddie, construction, we appropriated, we did not release, we appropriated money for the works that are supposed to be done, the works are not ongoing. And that's why we are asking the minister what happened. Now, the minister is telling us reality. He's giving us the reality. That what is happening, yes, much as you approved to give me money for the works of, say, Moroto, Mitiana Mubende Road, I have not been given the money. There is a difference between an appropriation vis-a-vis release. So for the minister to give a statement is giving accountability of what is happening in his docket. So is procedurally right? Let him give us a report. As a house, the mandate is on us to take a decision on what to do. But information is very important for us as a house because we must be able to account to the population out there that yes, we are here, we are your representatives, we allocated money for you, but this money has not been available, maybe because of other priorities. Yes, I don't want, let the minister finish his report, then we can bring all those procedural issues. Let the minister finish.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the protection. As I was saying, the following projects are currently fully suspended due to non-payment. Masindi Viso Kumbi Busabala is suspended because the contractor, we owe the contractor 44 billion, and also we need money for land acquisition. Moroto Rectanyara, this one is about 80% progress, but we need to find the money so that the project can be completed. Mitiana Mubende, we gave the contractor out of the money which was appropriated, the 462 billion, 39 billion out of the IPCs which he had, but now what he told us is that all that money, he used it to pay the debts and pay the suppliers, and right now he needs another 30 billion, which is not in the budget. Kampala Jinja Highway, that one, we had to now use the internal mechanism of the ministry to intervene, and that's what you see the works going on that road is by the ministry internal capacity, the unit which is working on that road to put some sanity on the road. The following projects are progressing but at a reduced rate due to delayed payments or incomplete land acquisition. Land acquisition is another nightmare. Kilaka Sangat Matuga, the number of properties which we have not yet paid for. Kisubi Nakauka Natete, Nakauka Mauguru Nanziga, Nakauka Kasanje Mpiji, Nakauka, Kasanje Buaya, and then Tebe Nachuogo. This is one project within that area. But the challenge of that project is mainly land acquisition because the contractor accepted to do a pre-financing arrangement which was agreed on with the Minister of Finance for 2 years. But he needs land for him to work.
How much is supposed to be paid to the PAPs?
The PAPs, 380 billion. Arin Nebi Road, this one's about to be completed, but again the progress is slow. We need to Matuga Semtoka Peka, this one, a baker, who is a local contractor, demands about 44 billion. Karuma Pakwachi Road, this one is progressing. The contractor, China Railway 7, together with NEC, they demand about 20 billion. Busunju Kivoga Hoima Road, this is under reconstruction by again Abubeka, who's demanding us another 30 billion on this particular road. Karuma Orio and the Orio Pakwach sections, these are being addressed, and I think very soon they'll be finished. Additionally, key bridge projects remain under construction but constrained because of funding, and the progress is ongoing, but it could be better if we had a reliable fund release. Katonga Bridge, including Rera and Kalanda's Swamp crossings along Masaka. Then the Upper Katonga Bridge, that's Kabula Soke, Villa Maria Road. And Seziwar Bridge on Kayunga Kayunga Mukono Road. The cumulative effects of these suspensions and delays has led to slow absorption of project resources, exposure to financial claims, risk of asset deterioration, and reputational concerns. If not urgently addressed, these disruptions will compromise Uganda's ability to deliver critical national infrastructure and maintenance of the existing network. Impact of the inadequate funding. The funding shortfall of 2.472 trillion in this financial year has had far-reaching consequences on the implementation of the National Roads Program. These impact manifest across land acquisition, ongoing project performance, the paved road network, and maintenance of gravel roads. Impact on land acquisition and project commencement. Land acquisition remains a prerequisite, and this is in the Constitution, I think Article 26, for access to site and commencement of physical works. The delay or absence of funds for land compensation has constrained progress on both Government of Uganda projects and also externally funded projects. The lack of access to site has, A, prevented contractors from mobilizing, leading to suspension of activities. Triggered claims for idle equipment, because it's in the law that the contractor cannot, if you can't give him access to land, then we charge you idle equipment. The ministry currently requires 843 billion in total to complete land acquisition obligations in financial 2025-26 on all ongoing projects, including those funded by donors. And the list is in the annexes which I've provided. Impact on ongoing projects, arrears and claims. Right Honourable Speaker, the under-allocation in 2025-26 has further compounded certified arrears carried forward from the previous year, which, as I stated earlier, is 1 trillion and 71 billion. These arrears relate to completed or ongoing works for which certificates were issued and approved. Failure to clear these obligations has resulted in the following. 1, suspension or reduced performance on 27 ongoing projects. The lists are in the annex. Accrual of commercial interest on delayed payments estimated at over 48 billion in financial year 2025-26 alone. Delays in execution of co-finance projects, potentially affecting Uganda's credibility with development partners. Additionally, the continued accumulation of unpaid certificates discourages private sector confidence, increases future unit cost, and may result in government being classified as high-risk client in the infrastructure contracting market. The impact on paved roads. Honourable Speaker, Uganda's paved road network, now standing at 6,312 kilometers, is experiencing increasing structural distress due to insufficient maintenance, deferred interventions, increased traffic and climate change, and according to the latest technical assessment, 2,460 kilometers, which is 39% of the network, require urgent intervention as follows. 1, 1,993 kilometers require periodical maintenance, like what we did on Northern Bypass. 260 kilometers require rehabilitation. 270 kilometers have deteriorated to the level of reconstruction. These include roads like Gulu, Atiak, Nimule, which need total reconstruction. Honourable Speaker and members, periodic maintenance intervention costs about 880 million per kilometer if you do it within time. If not implemented,
888.
Yes, and 88 million shillings per kilometer. If not implemented, these roads degrade and instead require rehabilitation, which costs up to 2.59 billion per kilometer. Again, if this is not done, so the deterioration of the 1,993 kilometers due for periodical maintenance further into rehabilitation would result into preventable fiscal loss of up to 850 billion. This, however, does not even include the direct costs for road users, such as vehicle maintenance, the accidents which happen as a result, etc. If roads already earmarked for rehabilitation are neglected further, they transition into reconstruction category, just as what we are doing on Masaka to Mutukura Road, which costs 3.7 billion per kilometer, from 888 to 3.70 billion per kilometer, if not attended to in time. Consequently, failure to address 100 kilometers of rehabilitation-ready roads could impose an additional burden of 111 billion shillings to the government. Right, Honourable Speaker. Further, the national asset value of Uganda's paved network has dropped from 37.4 trillion to 26.9 trillion, a depreciation of about 10.5 trillion, largely due to underfunding and deferred maintenance. This therefore calls for urgent need to provide funding to attend to the maintenance backlog. Right, Honourable Speaker, this may not be in the statement. We have had discussions on this matter of maintenance. Not once, not twice, even within my committee, the Committee of Parliament on Infrastructure. And we have been urging that for every $10 we invest in construction, we should invest $3 in maintenance. It has not worked. But we have put this very clear to the Finance Department, the Ministry. Impact on unpaved roads and routine maintenance. The national gravel road network, spanning over 14,000 kilometers, is also facing significant pressure due to poor funding and recurring climate shock. The current condition assessment indicates that 48% of these roads are in good condition, 35% in fair condition, 17% in poor condition. Maintenance efforts are hampered by A, unreliable and inadequate roads for grading and spot improvement. 2, depletion of gravel materials in highly demanded districts. And 3, infrastructure degradation due to flooding, landslides, and prolonged wet seasons. The ministry, my ministry, its capacity to respond to routine maintenance demands has been overstretched. Without predictable funding and mechanization support, rural access and road connectivity are likely to deteriorate further. Strategic recommendation and priority actions. Right, Honourable Speaker, in light of the impacts outlined above, the Ministry proposes the following measures to safeguard the value of the ongoing investment, restore the project's momentum, and prevent further deterioration of the road network. Prioritize and ring-fence funding for periodical maintenance. The most economically prudent intervention is to protect roads still in maintainable condition. Periodic maintenance should be prioritized and ring-fenced in this financial year to prevent the 1,933 kilometers from degrading into high-cost rehabilitation or reconstruction categories. This alone could avert a fiscal loss of 850 billion. 2, clear certified areas to enable resumption of works. The Ministry recommends that substantial portion of the 1.071 trillion in areas be cleared early enough in the financial year. 1, prevent further contractor demobilization. 2, avert accumulation of commercial interest. 3, avoid prolongation costs arising from claims by contractors. And 4, restore momentum on suspended or slowed down sites. Priority should be placed on fully suspended government of Uganda-funded projects such as Mitiana Movende, Kampala Jinja, Busega-Mpigi Expressway, among others. 5, allocate a dedicated fund for land acquisition. On this matter, Right Honourable Speaker, we have made a resolution that we are not going to accept any project to be directed to commence a project if the Ministry of Finance has not provided money for land acquisition going forward. Because land acquisition is a recurring constraint affecting both donor and government-funded projects. So we need an immediate allocation of about 843 billion in this financial year. In order to, this would enable us to access the sites and avoid breach of contract obligations. Projects under disbursement pressure from development partners must be prioritized to protect Uganda's credibility. Assurance and conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, our road network remains a critical national asset that underpins economic growth, regional integration. Fortunately or unfortunately, we're in the center of the region, and our network does not only serve Uganda, it also serves our neighbors and delivery of service. Its total replacement value is estimated at 37.4 trillion. However, due to underfunding and deferred maintenance, this value has greatly depreciated by about 10.5 trillion. And the risks of further deterioration are growing if the funding levels remain unchanged. The funding shortfall of 2.472 trillion in this financial year has triggered project suspension, delayed land acquisition, accumulated arrears, and increased fiscal exposure through interest and claim liabilities. The national paved network is now experiencing a backlog of 2,460 kilometers requiring urgent intervention. Without decisive action, an additional 500 kilometers may deteriorate and become more costly within this single year. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to assure you and all the honourable members that my ministry is committed to developing and maintaining the road network, but we need to be assisted, of course, by getting the right resources, and we shall frugally utilize the allocated resources in the most effective manner possible for a reliable and safe works, and also to ensure that our transportation infrastructure and services remain available to the public. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honourable
So,
Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, on the document are annexes which shows, 1, the allocation versus the requirement of the key projects under Government of Uganda. Projects initially meant to be completed in the financial 24-25, which are not yet completed because, again, of funding. I will have a breakdown of roads in need of urgent intervention. That's roads which require periodic maintenance. They're lined out there in Annex 3. And that ends my report and submission. Thank you.
Okay. We've had a report from the Minister.
The Honourable Musasizi is believed to be in the constituency. The Honourable Anite is representing the ministry at State Lodge, Nakasero, for a meeting that Honourable Peter Ogwang has just moved for. Honourable Lugolobi, the phone is on, but not picking. So in the circumstances, that is the report I can give.
Thank you. There's a
Now that the Honorable Government Chief Whips are here, and even the Prime Minister, honestly, the issue is about money, because this is a very beautiful report. Well,
honourable members, lamentations without the people who provide the money. But Honorable Minister, I also want you to address the issue on the money for maintenance of the rural roads, the village roads, the 1 billion shillings. We have that money.
Yes, that one went.
That money. In the same districts, we also have UNRA roads, formerly UNRA roads. What is the way forward? Can you guide these people that they must also maintain these roads where possible? Because you cannot just abandon a road and say this is UNRA road, and yet you're able to maintain. If it requires us to add money to the district for them to maintain the roads, let them maintain the roads. You will not wait for Minister of Works to go and maintain these roads. There was an issue, the issue of PAPs, the project affected persons. You find most of these figures are inflated. Is it possible for us to standardize the valuations so that we have, and I think there is the valuation bill in the committee. When that valuation bill in the committee comes, we should be able to do something to avoid having figures that, inflated figures for pubs. Yes?
On the front bench, we have just 2 ministers, and then maybe one person who is interested in becoming a minister sometime. Right Honorable Speaker, there's a generic issue which for me is beyond finance. It's good the government chief whip is here. Government has been propagating the Bubu policy. Buy Uganda, build Uganda. Some of the contractors that the minister is talking about are local contractors. These people's companies are closing down. They go to banks after you have given them a contract. So they go and secure a loan, a credit facility, on account of that. But because they are not getting payment from government, their businesses are closing down, the young people they are employing, joblessness and so on. The government, you can't say one thing and then do another. I get perplexed whenever these so-called foreign investors, they come here, we give them free land. We give them tax waivers. Of late, we are guaranteeing them money. I don't know what kind of investors those are that will give you land, tax waivers, and then we guarantee you money and you call yourself an investor. But we have our local investors who are going to make sure this money here gets recycled within our economic platform, if you like. Why? Maybe government needs to help us. That this Bubu thing was only for we, the citizens, that when you go to the market, buy Ugandan products. But you, government, you do not want, you want to preach water and then drink wine. You cannot tell us to buy Ugandan products, and yet you are stifling Ugandan businesses. You should be prioritizing that. For me, right, Robo, that's not a question for Minister of Finance. It's a question for government generally.
It is actually connected to finance because the areas to be paid, the areas paid to the people who have worked. Honorable Minister, when you talk about the roads that you really need to, that were suspended, I want you to include Busunju, Kiboga, Hoima Road, because this is a road that is going to be checked by CAF for us to be able to host the AFCON. So you need to prioritize on that road. If you're talking about 30 billion, that is little money. You should be able to get that money, and that's a local contractor where we even gave him money. That was Abubakar. We gave that local contractor our own money as government. Then you also look at the issue of, did we budget for the equipment for districts that don't have equipment, cities? Did we budget for it?
Which were identified as excessively big, and so one unit was not enough for them. And then also, you remember when we bought the equipment, we did not address the cities and municipalities and town councils. We have already provided the requirement to the Minister of Finance, and they told, the last I heard is that it has been put in the system, possibly to use the same arrangement we used in buying the 1,151 which we distributed, so that they can get those equipment. That's about the equipment. About Busunjukivoga Road and the contractor, Right Honorable Speaker, even when you look in some of the documents which I've given, where we spent the 420 billion, priority was given to local contractors. We gave them priority in paying for their IPCs. So we recognize their challenges, because these are people whom we interface with nearly every day through their body, UNABSEC, and we did give them some sizable amount. According to what we call the certificates which they are presented. We don't pay up front, we pay when the certificates are there.
Honorable Minister, yesterday I talked about a road from Mbarara to Bushenyi. It is basically potholes. As we wait for money to work on the whole road, why don't you just work on those smaller potholes so that the road is usable? Just like the way you're working on Kampala, Jinja.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, we are now in that process. We started with the Gaza Karaji Road, which had also gone deteriorated. Now we are doing Jinja. We are left only with, I think, 1 or 2 sections at Uriantete and somewhere near Chigombia. When we finished, Mavira was done. I think there's a section in Mavira which we need, where the Kenyans got an accident when we were doing the pilgrimage. So we are in that process, Right Honorable Speaker. We want to reduce on contracting for every simple work. I remember we had potholes between Mijera and Kafu, and those were done by ourselves. The unit went and treated those potholes. When we move from Jinja Road, we intend to move to Chegegwa, between Chegegwa and Chenjojo, because that section has also greatly deteriorated. No, the Kabarimbarara Road has a contractor. The Kabarimbarara Road has a contractor who's working on it.
Honourable members, we had agreed with.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, yesterday when we Madam Speaker, first of all, I want to thank the Minister for being honest and for the report. But yesterday, when we halted the Minister from presenting the report, you did ask members to give additional information for them to clarify. I found that missing from the Minister's presentation. Maybe his colleague did not give him those issues. So now that we are going to have a discussion,
can you, all of you, write those additional issues? Get all the concerns of the members? No.
Madam Speaker,
they talk.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to raise this point of procedure. I believe this is a house of record. If issues were raised on the floor of the house, they are captured by the Hansard. And therefore, members who did their part yesterday, the minister should be...
We are going to extract them from the Hansard,
yes,
and give to the minister.
Most obliged.
And even the ones who still have other issues.
Most obliged.
Like you who was not in the house.
Most obliged.
You was not in the house yesterday.
Right, Honourable Speaker.
You'll give your issues, we capture it, so that we now give the minister, when we are going for a debate, we have an exhaustive debate and we get a way forward as an institution.
Yes, Right Honourable Speaker, as I exhaust my point of procedure, there are issues which the minister may not need to wait on. For instance, you raised the issue of UNRA roads, the roads which UNRA was working on. like trunk roads. I have 2 roads in my constituency. One is from Mabale, Burora, Rugashali to Chenzige. Another one from Mohoro, Cheterekera, and Daiga. UNRA has been maintaining it before they abolished UNRA. And recently, we gave the entire budget of UNRA to Ministry of Works. Ministry of Works have escaped, and they are saying, we have no money. Where is the money that we gave you under when you were taking over UNRA?
Honorable member, I have the accountability of the monies that were
talking
transferred.
about these suspended Tamaka roads, not these trunk roads which our people are using.
Honorable members, I believe all of you are... Can you people do the monitoring? You're all chairpersons. How can you allow? Yes, Cow.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My sub-region of Uvuro Bududa Sachua Road, 28 kilometers, and the minister is aware.
Yes, I forwarded it to the minister.
But there is a clarification I want to seek from the minister, because it could be the reason that could have imposed the added financial burden on the budget. The ongoing progressive construction of roads in DRC Congo, courtesy of the budget here. Is it with your superintendence? And could it be the major reason that is causing the, because this works and the transport sector was one of the 4 lion shares over the budget. What could have happened?
Honorable, directly 8 kilometers. That road is under even NDP for now for tarmacking. However, Mbale Station has now put a contractor to maintain the road before we go into the tarmacking. So it will be maintained. On the issue of the money, if I may, we had a discussion with Minister of Finance. Actually, we had yesterday but one under the chairmanship of the President. And they said, yes, we understand, and this is what they said, but they'll be here to defend, that we understand your challenges, but as of now, because of elections, most of the money is in elections. So bear, and you are the people who are in elections. I'm not.
Honorable Minister, of course, one thing is, those roads that we are talking about are causing a lot of accidents. Maybe next time when you have a meeting with them, you should involve some of us. Let's have a meeting with them and we see how best we can handle that. We are going to discuss this report when we have finance in the House. Can we have this on Tuesday, Honorable Government Chief Whip? Issues to the Minister, the issues that were raised so that they are all catered for. Then we have a discussion on Tuesday.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I can guarantee to notify the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, but I may not guarantee the attendance.
Honorable Government Chief Whip, can we have the Minister of Finance in the House and with the Senior Minister himself? Senior Minister, yourself, we want you, since you've started this process and you should be able to finish it.
Speaker, in informing the Minister, I will formally write before the close of business today and also call. But to say I undertake to drag him here, honorable members, Even you and me, you know you can't do that. So kindly allow me do my part.
Kale byebyo General Katumba Wamala ataddewo embeera ayagala enguudo zibe nga zikolebwa banamuwa ssente